What's going on, everybody? I am here with Winston Hofer, CEO and founder of Madroit Marketing. I, of course, am Jordan Haynes, partner here at Madroit Marketing. Win, how are we doing today?
Doing great, Jordan. How about you?
Dude, I am loving life and we're so ready to dive into our episode today. I'm pretty pumped about it. So, guys, if I were to ask you, if I'm talking to you, right, and you and I are going around and we were to ask 100 different people, what is marketing? Most likely we're getting a multitude of answers, and as we should, I mean, obviously. But that, my friends, is due to marketing being a multifaceted practice, right? From our experience, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would say it's a balance between analytical skills, creativity, adaptability, and of course, strategic thinking. But honestly, we live this life every day. So, I mean, we're used to that. We're in there. But for those who don't, it can be an overwhelming process, which can be just lead to all kinds of different crazy things. That's going to kind of lead us into, I think, one of our main points here is that marketing doesn't actually have to be that hard, right? Like there's a lot of things that we can put in place and things that we can measure to make things easily digestible and make things more streamlined and efficient for if it's your board of directors that need to understand what's going on, your agency, your team members that you're working with, to make things a little bit easier. So I think one of the big things that we're going to harp on, not just in this podcast, but in additional podcasts that you may listen to, is measuring KPIs and establishing KPIs, right? Let people know what the goals are. Let people know what the things are that you're looking and striving to achieve, and then show them exactly what the plan is to get there. And then also how you're going to get to reach that end goal. What does success look like? What does failure look like? And you don't have to say failure. It can be what can be improved upon. But I think those are some of the big things, or one of the big things that I would say is huge. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, just quickly, like I think failure is good. Like the more comfortable we get with it, the faster we can move through it and iterate through what works better, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't want to swing for home runs in every swing, but I want to get on base. I want to get doubles, triples, and when the time presents itself and we have the capacity and everything else like that, go for a home run. And you might fail. I mean, look at the Amazon smartphone. Like they spent $1 billion on it and it failed, and they were okay with it because they want to be swinging for big home runs while they're chipping away on base, doubles, triples. And obviously,
Yeah.
Amazon does it very well. But yeah, just being able to, it can be simple to execute on these things. It can be simple to manage them and manage team members and agencies. But you have to evaluate what you have. So you have to evaluate your team, your budget. You have to evaluate the goals and the objectives that you have for sales, for leads, for impressions, for these things that are important to you. But starting at the top, like how many leads, how many clients, customers do you want? Like, what's the goal? And working backwards from that. And do you already have those set up? If not, it's probably time to think about them, but then evaluating what your current strategy is. And like you said, Jay, KPIs.
It's so vital, man. I mean, when you're evaluating your strategy, like understanding what the right tactics are, what the goals are for those associated with those tactics, but then also understanding again, like if you dive into a new tactic and you're taking on something new for your company or for your business, whatever, you have to understand that those things are going to take time to show real results, real trackable results. So you're going to have to go through some of the ebbs and flows. And sometimes there's going to be some really, really cool peaks. And sometimes there's going to be some valleys where you're going to start questioning, like, do we need to adjust? Do we need to make some changes? And that's, again, just where it really pays off to have an advisor in that space where you know that you can go to for an honest opinion for what you need to do or how you need to go about doing it. So I think, you know, I think one example that we have is a client that we were working with that was doing a lot of different things. So they had a ton of different things that they were into as far as marketing tactics went, but they didn't necessarily have full control of all of those things. So a lot of it would just kind of get lost in the shuffle, or things may be like halfway done and then things may not launch on time. And as we know, timing is a crucial element depending on what industry you're in. That can mean different things. But I think one of the things that we did was, which was really, really cool, is we kind of stepped in, we evaluated the entire strategy, and then ultimately we evaluated what to keep, get rid of. And it's just an honest conversation, right? Because for us, there's not necessarily a priority for one tactic over the other. It's what's working, what's not working, and the overall strategy that's tied to their goals. So we help generate a lot more revenue. We were able to cut some costs for them, which is obviously a good situation for a company to find themselves in, but always operating in the customer's best interests. Or the client's best interests. So with that, Wayne, anything to add?
I guess thinking about it, like just keeping it simple is so important, but having your ducks in a row is just as important. I think the mistake people make, and rightfully so, people are excited. They zoom too far in before evaluating and understanding what they have and what they need. So they jump into a big campaign or a big promotion that they run, and they're half baked. So then they do that a few times in a few different areas, and then it's really complicated at that point. But if you simplify and start at the top, evaluate what you have, what you need, and then work into those campaigns and strategies and have them align, you can really do some wonderful, wonderful things. And we're fortunate enough to be able to do that with our clients and help them dig themselves out of that chaos mode and into a strategic thinking mode and execution mode. So yeah, keeping it was great, but starting at the top, huge.
Yeah, 100%. So I think with that, guys, for us, we understand marketing is difficult. Marketing does not have to be as difficult as it may seem for some. Love to talk with you guys. If there's ever anything that you guys need, or if you have any questions, or if there's things that you want to hear us talk about on the pod, please feel free to hop over to madroitmarketing.com/podcast, and please rate and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks, guys.